that aspect as well. So that's the matchup tonight. 7-1 Oklahoma State against 2-4 Houston Christian. And it is Tendon Magassa that wins the tip for the Cowgirls. And just like we've seen in the past, they get it to her immediately underneath. Magassa is fouled and will go to the line. She did not have an official field goal attempt in the game against Richmond, Brennan, over the course of 15 minutes. Quite surprising to see.
Yeah, and she has progressed offensively. And J.C. Hoyt is definitely known for understanding how to utilize different pieces on that offensive end. But one of the things Coach Hoyt talked to you and I today about is she has to start demanding the ball. The defenses were better. You played an SEC team, and then Richmond, who we just mentioned, is really, really good. They want to go through her on the offensive end.
Richmond, it is also, should be noted, they're among the longer teams that Oklahoma State has played this year. As a turnover, the first of the game on Houston Christian gives it back to Oklahoma State. But Magassa has not had a lot of games wherein she's been challenged with her size, her length in the post so far. So maybe that was something that knocked her off balance a little bit. Cowgirls back with the basketball, leading 1-0. An open three for the wing, rattles it home.
Well, Staley Hurd is probably Oklahoma State's best overall two-way player, meaning offensively and defensively. And she's a player that makes good decisions, uses her athleticism, and makes enough of those, Adam, that you have to respect and get out to her and extend on the perimeter defensively.
Good to see one go down early for the Cowgirls. Coach Hoyt, who is watching from a distance due to her pregnancy, she's about to have a baby in December, said that she really kind of had to remind them when they got back that they had just set a record the game before they left for that trip.
Yeah, here's that three from Hurd right there. And when you watch this Oklahoma State team, probably 7 to 8 players on any given night could top you for 20. And they move it so well and have such great spacing, they're tough to defend.
Magassa right in front of the hole, gets it to go.
Obviously a major size advantage for Magassa. Houston Christian, we'll see how they adjust.
Not a lot of movement away from the ball right now. Ollie will drive. Spin to the baseline, too strong. Magassa with the outlet quickly. Smith looking for the trailer. Underneath now, a foul. Called against Ollie, the junior out of Luxembourg. Listed at 6 foot, so giving up a few inches. And Coach Finney out of Scotland, Edinburgh, Scotland, in her 12th year as a head coach at Houston Christian. She was the first international head coach for the Huskies, and she's been doing it a long time now.
And really done a good job as HCU many years ago transferred to Division I level. You're in a tough league. You could tell the respect that J.C. Hoyt has for her. They had a long conversation prior to the game right in front of us. But like a lot of coaches, Coach Finney's had to revamp her ball club. 3 Division I transfers to bring in experience. You talked about the international part of the ball club. 6 of those on the roster for her.
Three-pointer all but down, but an offensive rebound for Houston Christian. Underneath, shot won't go. Fighting for another offensive board, that time was McGuire. McGuire, one of those international players out of Belfast, Northern Ireland. She averages a little over 7.5 points per game. Way too strong, and then a bump. Loose ball picked up by Oklahoma State on the run. I see lobs it underneath for Staley. Can't finish. McGuire, one of 4 players that averages 7 or more for Houston Christian, but nobody in double figures as Magassa swats that one away. Trailer to Hurd, open 3, got 2.
I'll tell you what, when you prepare to play Oklahoma State, you literally have to understand the individual assignments on the scouting report, because of all the players in this ball club that can hurt you offensively.
Trying to defend in the half court now. Three-pointer straight away is off the mark. kind of let her shoot it. Tolis wasn't able to hit. Cowgirls already on a 9-0 run. Remember the last home contest against Chicago State, they started that one out 24-0. This one's 12-0. And a quick timeout from Coach Finney in Houston Christian, as Hurd has gotten red hot from behind the arc to start the game.
Staley Hurd, athletic, physical, tremendous versatility. Here's part of that versatility so far tonight. 3 straight praise from the Sapulpa Soccer.
As we embark on the 60th anniversary of the Posse, we want to take some time to express our gratitude for your continued support. Posse members have served as the lifeblood of OSU athletics, allowing us to provide an elite level experience for our student athletes. And with your help, we can continue fulfilling our mission for decades to come.
Back with Oklahoma State leading 12-0 in the early moments here as we take a look at our keys to the game for Houston Christian.
Yeah, for HCU and Coach Finney, it's limit careless turnovers. They've turned it over 23 plus times per game so far this year. Just 2 so far here tonight. Got to do that obviously on the road. And then keep OSU in the half court because they're so good defensively. Now, they haven't given up any layups in transition, Oklahoma State, so far. But Oklahoma State has gotten points out of their secondary break. So they've got to get Oklahoma State in a situation where they have to move it some in the half court offensively so they can get that defense set up.
Huskies with it as we get back to action and take a look at the keys for Oklahoma State. Frankly, one of those was to get back in rhythm shooting the ball. They've already managed to accomplish that as the ball is knocked out of bounds and it'll stay with Houston Christian.
Yeah, and rebounding margin. We talked about how well HCU rebounds at Oklahoma State. Doesn't want them to dominate there. And also when you rebound well, if you're Oklahoma State, the way they push it allows them to get out and run. And then let it fly. That's a direct quote from J.C. Hoyt. She felt like in Daytona, when the shots weren't falling, they got tentative. And she doesn't want her players, especially how talented they are at multiple positions offensively, to ever hesitate to step up and knock down shots.
That jumper was left short, and even though they struggled in particular from beyond the arc in those couple of games out in Daytona Beach, the deflection will turn it over and it'll go to Houston Christian. They still enter this game, Brendan, shooting 39% as a team from 3. That's tops in the Big 12 and top 20 in the country.
Well, anytime, and there's a handful of times you'll see 5 players from Oklahoma State that are legitimate threats from long range out there on the floor together.
Short jumper missed off the glass. Igareva fighting for the rebound. They'll say it was last touched by Houston Christian. That is one thing that we're keeping an eye on. The Huskies already with 3 offensive rebounds. They haven't converted anything off them, but they've got 3-0 boards.
Well, they play hard, which most good defense and rebounding teams do.
Hurd is 4 for 4 to start the game from beyond the arc. Cowgirls lead 15-zip.
Yeah, a little fade right there. A little bit better guarded. A contest, at least in the area for HCU, but when a player of that caliber is already feeling it, the damage has already been done.
Heward with the steal, flips it ahead to Wooten. A little quick pass to the left, and the shot's blocked, and now Houston Christian running the other direction. Euro step, and there's the first bucket for the Huskies.
Yeah, nice Euro right there in transition from Dixon.
Wooten from the mid-range knocks it down.
So one of the things that makes Wooten, the freshman, so tough is almost at will she can get into the paint. As you play better competition like they did last week and certainly get into Big 12 play, she's probably not going to be able to get all the way to the rim, but that's okay because she plays off 2 feet and has a really good mid-range. You saw it right there on display.
We've talked some about Richmond, not only how talented they are, as Dixon lets a 3 fly. Offensive rebound again. No good on the putback, and Igareva got it that time. Wooten, 9 for 12 in that game against Richmond. She shot the ball 7 of 8 in the first half, was really good, even as some teammates struggled around her in those moments. Igareva with the drop step to the basket for 2.
Nice job of Igareva going over that off shoulder, that right shoulder. But that's how you have to defend Oklahoma State. You had shooters at all 4 spots out of the perimeter. And that 4-out, 1-in situation around Igareva.
Cowgirls shooting 70% from the field and 4 for 4 beyond the arc to start this game. That jumper is short. Hurd working her way towards a double-double. She's got 2 already this season. Hurd driving. She is... Oh, we have an offensive foul. Hurd was bumped, but an illegal screen from Igareva will turn the ball over.
Yeah, I think you see praise right here. It's okay to post, but as soon as she got those arms back, like a chicken wing, good call by the official. She just needed to post hard. That's what Oklahoma State's bigs are going to do. The first available with a 5 is going to rim run, which she did, but she just didn't need to hold on the backside. The play was already there for Staley Hurd.
Oklahoma State just +1 in the turnover margin right now. That's a number the Cowgirls would like to see higher, in particular with an opponent that turns the ball over as much as the Huskies do. 3-pointer on its way off the back iron. Long rebound, snagged by Hurd, and she's fouled.
I think you're seeing, you know, what's been the challenge for HCUs so far in the non-conference. I mean, they've played, first of all, they've played a tough schedule. This is the 4th Big 12 team they've played on the road. So they're playing good people. And they've really held their own defensively and represented well there, as we've talked about, Adam. But offensively, they really struggle to score. And they're going to give themselves opportunities, but they haven't really had somebody step up yet this year that can consistently go get them buckets.
Heward able to get to the rack and lay it in.
And we've talked about this before with Oklahoma State. Heward, a tremendous shooter at 45% from 3-point range. But she and many of her other teammates put it on the floor well enough that you have to respect the drive.
Cowgirls running off the miss. Wooten in a bunch of traffic. Inside Magassa. Tried to bully her way in there and got called for steps.
Yeah, nice job right there defensively in the post. Just, you know, if you get caught behind, you stay down, stay strong. Really sound defensive play in the post right there from HCU.
Deflection pinballed out of bounds off of the Cowgirls. So the Huskies maintain possession. Prim, seen her out of Overland Park. Cowgirls now back with it all of a sudden. Asi splits defenders, fouled and 1 for Annegret Asi.
A little defense to offense right here. Good containment. There's Asi. No defender for HCU stops the ball. Asi does exactly what you want to do. Drives it all the way to the bucket. Such a really good basketball player as Asi. Struggled in Daytona. Uncharacteristic. And for Oklahoma State, when they're playing good people, I mean, she doesn't have to get 20 at them, but she has to have a little success offensively to remind the other team of her potential prolific scoring.
What intrigues me about Houston Christian's defensive numbers as the ball is deflected but falls back. Ooh, and a nice turnaround jump at that time from Prim. But those defensive numbers, they have to give up a higher percentage of that in transition with all those turnovers. So they're in the half court, they must be even better than those numbers indicate. At least that stands to reason. Nice
job of Magassa running the floor and catch it right there in the post. No, absolutely. I mean, we said it at the top and have mentioned it multiple times. Although Oklahoma State has played well offensively in the first half, the Huskies are good defensively. Oklahoma State, just when they get going, they could get going in a hurry. Here they go again.
Turnover number 5 on the Huskies. Hurd attacking the basket, can't finish. Rebounded by Houston Christian. That's Fields that came away with it. As good as Houston Christian has been defensively in the half court, they've struggled on the offensive end. Just 38% of a team is 270th in the country in terms of field goal percentage. Step back 3 off the mark right. Not a lot of movement away from the ball on that possession, Brett. 8 seconds left in the first quarter. Wooten picks up the screen, turns the corner, finds Magassa on the line for the lay-in. Over Arkansas, defended fairly well against Richmond, who remains undefeated on the season.
Yeah, you know, anytime you go on the road for the first time with your ball club as a group, it's always beneficial. Obviously, the Cowgirls would have liked to come back with 2 wins. As we mentioned, Richmond, a very good ball club. But, you know, beyond the not shooting it great, Adam, against Richmond, Oklahoma State was out-rebounded by 8. They were outscored in the paint by 8. And then I think that's something that's key that stood out to me is that Aussie and Staley Hurd had 9 points combined.
Yeah.
Now, as we mentioned, tremendous balance offensively for Oklahoma State. Lots of players that can, you know, pop you for a big night. But you have your best overall athlete, most versatile player in Hurd, and then Aussie struggling. You can't have more struggle against good people.
Micah Gray buries a 3, and she also was one that struggled in that game. She was just 2 for 10 from beyond the arc in that contest. I mean, those are just numbers that you're not going to see very often from those 3. 31-4 Oklahoma State. And if you tuned into the game at home against Chicago State, where the Cowgirls scored a program record 112 points, they led 25-4 at the end of that first quarter. They were up 28-4 at the end of the first quarter here this evening. Smith off the screen, mid-range jumper, no. Jones gets the offensive rebound and draws the foul.
Here's Gray. Talked about her, Adam. Was it nice, solid play from Smith? Tosses back to Gray, who did a good job of moving up the floor, creating distance from her defender so she can have a wide open look.
Jones can't finish, but Smith with the putback for Oklahoma State. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different Cowgirls have already scored here just 90 seconds into the second quarter.
Yeah, they shared so well, and for a team that hasn't really been together that long, they really understand who they are.
Corner 3 knocked down by Lyric Barr. She's now shooting 2 for 3 on the season. So not a lot of 3-point attempts, but she's been effective.
Well, she was good in her last game against Southwestern Texas. 12 points in her 33 minutes.
Jones with the miss from the elbow. Davis on the counterattack. Oklahoma State got back well in transition. Davis will pull up, left it short. Huskies obviously have still turned the ball over quite a bit, and there's a foul on Bagiego. However, Brendan, it feels like when the Huskies have just missed shots, they've gotten back pretty well in transition. Most of the transition stuff for Oklahoma State has been off of turnovers. Smith bullies her way in there for 2.
Yeah, that's another one. You know, the last one from Smith was off the offensive rebound, but she's kind of figured out right there. Smith very sure with the basketball when she handles it. She's strong. She's found that she can drive it and work her way to the paint.
Hard off the iron, rebounded by Gray this time for the Cowgirls. Trying to thread the needle, and Jones beautifully executed.
What a great pass. You know, the defender has her eyes turned away from the basketball. So Gray able to throw it right by the defender's ear for Jones to lay that in. That's a very good transition basketball.
Bump on the floor this time, called against Jones. Her first.
Now watch this right here. Eyes up from Gray, and that's one of the things these Oklahoma State guards can all lead a break. Defender right there. Lyric Carr, eyes turned, and then Stacey Jones lays it in.
Step back from the free throw line is short. You mentioned her eyes being up. I mean, we're talking, they're catching the ball underneath the basket and already looking up the floor to see where they can throw it. Smith from the elbow this time, off the mark. Langerman fighting for the rebound. Out of bounds off of Langerman. It'll go to Houston Christian. Langerman and Jones out, Hurd and Magassa in for Oklahoma State, leading by 30 just a few minutes into the second quarter. pick and pop. Contested three is an air ball out of bounds.
I think just Magassa's presence on ball right there. I mean, she forced that. Magassa can get out on the perimeter and defend. Really understands how to use her length, and she moves really well side to side for somebody 6'6".
Gray kind of refusing the angle drive there. Instead, they feed it underneath to Magassa with the layup.
Yeah, Barr giving up about 5-6 inches. That weak side help was hugged up. You got to allow plenty of room to get that post entry pass in there.
Davis with it. Now to Barr. Feels like the Huskies have settled for some extra threes here. There's another one that's off the mark right. Not a good three-point shooting team. 27% is 279th in the country. Contact and a foul. Bagiegu picks it up. That's her second personal. Just a sophomore out of Gothenburg, Sweden.
Nice. Looking right here at him at some Oklahoma State numbers. And they have made all 5 3-point shots. And Micah Gray helps me make my point right there. They shoot it great from 3, typically, right? They struggled a little bit in Daytona. But one of the better shooting teams in the country, but they get the right kind of threes. They don't settle.
Speaking of threes, Erin McGuire rips the net zone one. She came in with tied for the most three-point makes on the team this year. Seed to respond on target. When this offense is flowing for Oklahoma State, it just feels like every pass is on time, and it leads to a bunch of open looks.
Yeah, the ball doesn't stick with Oklahoma State. It moves, and there's no standing. Constant movement, good screening from Oklahoma State.
McGuire, a little turnover prone. Feeds this one underneath, though, and a foul. That'll send Caesar to the line. Foul called against Alexia Smith. That's her first personal. About halfway through the second quarter, the Cowgirls up big. 44-10 as we hit the media break here in the second. A lot of Cowgirls scoring, most recently Asi from downtown.
Back in Stillwater, where Oklahoma State is blistering the nets from three-point range. Staley Hurd 4-4. There's one from Micah Gray, and here's the one from Asi on the handoff from Magassa. 6 for 6 for Oklahoma State. A little over 15 minutes in this first half, and a lot better at them than what it was in Daytona over the weekend, where they were 7 of 40 from three-point range. Coach Hoyt talked to you and I today that she was very pleased with how focused the team came back in terms of practice and pushing the reset button. And I think it doesn't surprise her probably that they played so well offensively.
Free throw was good, but a lane violation will wipe it off. So Oklahoma State still leads 44-10. And one other thing that Coach Hoyt emphasized to us pregame was that she really wanted to remind this team of what they did going into that road trip and how well they had shot the ball up to that point this season. And yeah, you're in a different environment, but the rims are 10 feet off the ground in either case, and they seem to have gotten back into a rhythm today.
And as good as stuff as they run, like they did right there in that possession, and as well as they shoot it, you're sometimes you're not going to shoot it well. And most of the time, when that happens, it's on the road or away from home. So you have to learn to win other ways. And so I look at more than the shooting as they got out rebounded by Richmond. Paint points were won by Richmond. And those are two things that are crucial in any game at any level of basketball.
Well, they're even more crucial if you're struggling to shoot the basketball, because you've got to make up for that with some of those, more hustle categories, so to speak. And Richmond was able to take care of business in those instances. At the same time, Brendan, probably good for this Oklahoma State team to be challenged that way before they get to Big 12 play. There's a tough runner for Oklahoma State. Gray knocked it down.
And again, I talked about these shooters for Oklahoma State. I mean, if you don't have, you have to be in there on the catch and extending the three-point line, but your closeout has to be sound, because if it's not, they will drive it by you.
And when you say sound closeout, what does that look like?
Straight up. I mean, it sounds, it's easier said than done. I mean, you have to be there on the catch, prevent the shot, and then you got to contain. And at this level, all of it can be done.
Not there on the shot that time, but Gray couldn't get it to go. Huskies in transition the other way. I'm going to have to get me some oxygen and watching these teams run up and down the floor. This has been a high-paced game. McGuire lets it fly, too strong. Igoreva with the board this time. Wooten gets by the defender, scoop shot off glass.
The game is just slow to her. And you could see it even in her first couple of games when she came back from the foot injury. She turned it over probably too much, but it wasn't by getting sped up. It was usually by trying to make the home run pass.
Barr has knocked down a couple of threes now for Houston Christian. Remember, she came in just 1 for 2 from three-point range on the year. Inside, skip pass, double team. Now Wooten drives in, scoops that one, and can't get the spin to go. Possession arrow, I believe, favors Oklahoma State, since Houston Christian got it after the quarter break. Some athleticism from the staff member there for the Huskies to go up and knock that one away. Line change here in a smaller lineup. Jones, the tallest player on the floor here for Oklahoma State at 6'1".
Yeah, a lot of different lineups that J.C. Hoyt can throw out there. With that 5 position, Jones is a 4 that can play the 5. And obviously you have Igoreva at the 5 and Tendon Magassa at the 5. So there's many different looks offensively that they can throw at their opponents.
Gray thought about the step back. Now Jones, turnaround jumper. No. That rebound battle is one of the things that we talked about. Houston Christian has out-rebounded 3 Big 12 teams already. Cowgirls, though, with a plus 11 advantage right now. Tolis couldn't turn the corner on Langerman. Well defended. Cowgirls want to run. Nothing for Asi. Smith couldn't turn the corner. Dribble handoff was blown up, but Oklahoma State able to get it back. Now a step back three for Craig. Could not get the roll. Langerman comes up with the board though. Kick out to a wide open Asi, in and out. Had to catch it kind of sideways out of rhythm. Oklahoma State, even after that miss, still shooting 60% both from the field overall and from beyond the arc. Long two on the way is no good. And a foul on the rebound called against Tullis. That was the 6'5" Yasmin Butler out of Australia who took that last shot. She's only playing about 9 minutes a game.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, you mentioned it, Adam. They've done a terrific job on the boards. And we played huge into them getting in that offensive rhythm early as Asi knocks down another one. You know, when you play Oklahoma State, your coaches can tell you defensively, you have to extend out well beyond the arc on multiple players. And you have to make that adjustment. You cannot go behind or have too much space on your closeout on someone like Asi. They will knock them down time after time.
Good look underneath, but Butler couldn't finish, and the Cowgirls with the shot clock off will play for the final shot of the half. Already leading by 40 with 10 to go in the first. Langerman straight away, 4 to shoot. To Asi off the screen from the corner, it's deflected, and that will end the first half of play. Looked like maybe an intentional in Florida, as Coach Hoyt wasn't able to make the trip, and she'll be in that role again in the coming weeks after Coach Hoyt has her baby. But from all accounts that we've heard, Jasmine Player did a nice job on the road, kind of leading the way for the Cowgirls.
Well, those were wise words from a young coach. And you know, we've talked about Jasmine Player before. She has tremendous street credit from her playing days and who she played for in Kentucky. But she is a terrific young coach. And I told her, not that she needed me to tell her, but I told her tonight before the game, that's just the first of probably sometime very soon that you will be in the head coaching seat.
Tullis knocked down a 3 over the zone. Now a foul as the Cowgirls immediately went inside to Magassa.
Right there, just an overload. First offensive possession for Oklahoma State right out of halftime. Take away that built-in weak side help. Now one of the things right there, Magassa, as we've seen, has really good hands and pretty good feet. But she's got to continue to play physical and with strength. See, to me right there, you catch it like that, you have to finish. And as Coach Hoyt told us today and has before, they are committed to establishing her, not just tonight against HCU, but as they get into Big 12 play. They want her to be a presence and want her to even demand the ball more. I mean, as a perimeter player, you look in there, and if that post doesn't look like they really want it, you almost want them to get frustrated with you, like, throw it into me. And so that's what they're hoping will continue to develop with Magassa.
Almost like they're waiting for a switch to flip a little bit and have that turn into a more aggressive player. Her with the run through and the easy bucket. As the Cowgirls are in a zone here, we've not seen them play a whole lot of zone this season.
Well, there'll be times that they'll want to go to that. And part of that, Adam, will be they go 10 deep. They have 10 legitimate players at this level right now that are ready, and a couple freshmen that will be eventually.
Three-pointer knocked down over the top of the zone by McGuire.
Now, Oklahoma State's got to be cognizant of McGuire. It's their best three-point shooter.
Asi rattles one in on the other end to respond.
Yeah, no hesitation right there. And when you score against Oklahoma State, you can't celebrate because they'll push it up the floor quickly on you, even on makes.
Cowgirls out of rhythm here defensively. Prim open from the wing. Eventually she'll let it fly. Too strong. Smith with the rebound. Pull up from the free throw line. Dumped a little trust in transition, but apparently not for Smith.
Smith has a nice little mid-range game herself. We talked about really handles it well, doesn't turn it over much, doesn't get herself in tough spots.
Ole will fire from straight away, and she knocks it down. The Huskies have gotten hot here in the third quarter.
Well, they're much more comfortable out there. Oklahoma State not pressuring as much or extending as much defensively out of HCU as they were as the game started.
The Huskies have not taken a two-point shot in this third quarter. They're 3 for 5 from outside. And subsequently have already nearly matched the 9 points they scored in the second quarter. Three-pointer from McGuire again. That one's short. Magassa with the rebound.
We talked about HCU. They're going to be fine defensively, especially in their league with their emphasis on that end. It's the offensive end they've got to find a way to score.
What that defense does not account for is the athleticism of Staley Hurd, who's capable of getting to the basket and gets to about anybody.
Exactly. One area the Huskies have struggled defensively is transition D, stopping the ball. Oklahoma State, when they've run, that lead decision maker on the break has been able to get pretty deep to the paint.
Foul will send the Huskies to the line. Called against C, and Hurd with her first bucket from inside the three-point arc today a moment ago.
And she had to run through earlier, but right there, just so strong with it, the versatility. There's McGuire starting to get going a little bit offensively. Here's something else McGuire has done a pretty good job of here tonight, which should be encouraging to Donna Finney. Just one turnover so far. The ball's in her hands a lot. She's talented, but has been turnover prone much of this season. So that's good, a good sign for the young sophomore.
I think if you would have asked Coach Finney, hey, you've got 8 turnovers midway through the third quarter, how do you feel about that? I think she would have been pretty ecstatic. As Wooten hits the pull-up jumper. Pardon me, Hurd also has 2 two-point buckets in this half. We're seeing the Cowgirls get to the rim with a lot more frequency here in the third. Little flare off the screen, three-pointer short. The offensive rebound and the putback for Ollie. And now a turnover from Oklahoma State. Ollie weaving through traffic, pitches it ahead. That's deflected out of bounds. It'll go to the Cowgirls.
Now the Huskies have come out a lot more confident on the offense.
Cowgirls leading about midway through the third quarter, 66-25 here in Stillwater.
And let's see, Adam, how Oklahoma State is defensively here the next few possessions. You look at the first half offensively, or excuse me, the second half so far, the Cowgirls offensively, they're 5 of 6 from the floor. Have made no more ground up, have not extended anymore, because the Huskies have been much better offensively. Now they deserve credit for coming out the second half with a little bit more confidence, but Oklahoma State did not have their intensity.
What does that tell you about Houston Christian, going into halftime down 40 and to come out and perform like this in the third quarter?
Well, it's not surprising. I mean, they've been in these environments all season long, and I know Coach Finney and her ball club have the right perspective. I mean, it'd be tough to come in here and win, and they knew that, although that's what you're trying to do. This is more about their league play. This is more about conference play. And J.C. Hoyt, we asked her, what are your thoughts on HCU? She's, outside of the defensive stuff, which we've talked a lot about here tonight. Coach Hoyt mentioned, they played hard. Doesn't matter time or score, and she said that's a direct correlation to Donna Finney, how she coaches.
Nearly a turnover, but Wooten able to track it down. And then she left it back where she thought Heward was, but it's a turnover, gives it back to Houston Christian.
So you remember when I mentioned early in the season when she was turning it over a little too much? It wasn't that she was like a lot of young players because they drive it and get too deep. So she didn't get too deep there. That's just careless. She leaves her feet, turns around, and her teammate is not there. So she will, and she has, continue to cut those out. I mean, you're going to see in her career, and as this season progresses, she's going to have really high assist to turnover ratio.
Fall-away jumper is off the mark. Wooten, coming into this game, was 2-1 on the assist to turnover mark. Hewart can't finish on the 3, but an offensive rebound and a foul. Davis picks that one up. And Magassa, I believe, will be at the line for 2 free throws when we return shortly. Cowgirls a little stagnant here over the last few minutes, but still up big. Cowgirls up big here at the midway point of the 3rd quarter. We talked about this early on, Brendan. Houston Christian had really good defensive field goal percentage numbers coming into the game tonight, even against some decent competition, but the Cowgirls have pretty much blown those out of the water today.
And got off to that great start. And Oklahoma State plays so fast and pushes it in transition. You know, one of the things I think it does when you play them, and it's done it against ACU tonight, is that even if Oklahoma State doesn't get anything in transition, they push it so well, they advance up the floor so well at them, that the defense then gets flattened out, and they can immediately flow into offense in the half court. And I think that that certainly helps them. But credit Oklahoma State. I mean, as we said, HCU is a nice defensive basketball club. They play good people.
Tough finish for Dixon. Both teams have made 5 field goals now here in this 3rd quarter. It's a 6-0 run over the last 90 seconds for Houston Christian. Hurd bounces it to Magassa, who couldn't handle it initially, but able to regain the basketball and finish.
Good finish right there from Magassa. Last couple times she's caught it inside, she's handled it with a little more strength.
Too strong out of the mid-range that time for Beck. Cowgirls, again, as you mentioned a moment ago, can get out in transition in a hurry. Wooten zings it to Magassa, who mishandled the pass. Asi couldn't quite save it in. Smith will check in here as there's a player down for the Huskies. Wooten will come to the bench. That's Beck, who hit the floor pretty hard. Both teams will go to the benches for a moment here. Take a look back at that contact. Beck, just a freshman out of San Antonio. Ooh, looked like she stepped on Wooten's foot as part of that process.
Yeah, and Wooten knew, good recognition by Jaden Wooten, understand you had a big on you, ball fake, and then went around her. Hopefully she's able to, that's good. Be able to put decent amount of pressure on that foot right there. But that was a smart play by Wooten. Understand you have a big, you have the quickness advantage, don't settle for the 3, little shot fake, and then boom, blows right by her. But the pass, again, and I'm nitpicking, because for Oklahoma State to continue to make their good team, to be a very good team, Wooten right there is a huge key to that. In her decision making and her ability to create for others. That was a tough pass right there when she drove it. The short exchange between she and Magassa.
Full court defense here for Oklahoma State. They now fall back into the half court. Will some of that come simply with playing time and experience with her new teammates?
Yeah, absolutely. No, she's coachable, she's smart. And again, when I bring it up a lot, Adam, it's more as more of a compliment than as a criticism. I fully believe that she's going to eventually be a really sound decision maker. And then you add that with all the ability she has to create for others.
Well, it feels like we've learned so much about this team because they kind of had rapid fire games out of the gate at home. So we've seen them a bunch. This is already game number 9 of the season. But for Wooten in particular, remember she missed about a month going into the beginning of the season where she really wasn't doing any basketball activities. Magassa tried to power her way to the basket, but called for steps. And she missed the first couple of games, so Wootton's still trying to kind of get caught up to speed with the rest of the players around.
Yeah, didn't have the summer or preseason that everybody else did. That makes it even more impressive that she has accelerated her ability to make a huge impact already.
Hurd nearly took that one away. We'll stay with Houston Christian for the moment at least. 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Corner three, in and out. Heward had the box out initially, but then got beat to the basketball, and a finish from Prim in the paint.
That's great effort. Second, third effort right there from Prim.
Heward on the other end buries the triple. So she made up for it with a make. Still full court defense here for Oklahoma State. Trying to work on that trap game, it would appear. That ball just appeared in the hands of Tolis there. I don't think she was ready for it. High arcing three is left short. Magassa knocks it to the hardwood and is picked up by Hurd. Smith for the logo. Missed it. And give it back out though. Corner three from Heward. Left that one short. Asi steps in front of an easy pass. Coach Finney looked upset with the pass to begin with as Asi gets to the rim. And an offensive foul.
Yeah, a little bit discombobulated from both teams right now. Take a little look at this from, it's a little bang-bang play. Yeah, great job defensively. And in that situation, sometimes you just have to guess. And Davis did right there, taking the charge.
We talked at halftime, Brendan, about how this Oklahoma State squad had been crisper than crisp against some of these opponents that they expected to beat. That hasn't so much been the case here in the second half. What has looked different to you?
Well, human nature, I mean, it's hard. And to continue to make all the right decisions, play the right way. I mean, this team obviously is very connected. I mean, you can tell that from day one. Like the offensive part of it, poor shots, being careless with the ball. To me, that would not bother me as much as their defensive intensity from the first half went away.
See, tried to feed it underneath. Foul called against Jones. Her second, team's fourth by my count.
And J.C. Hoyt able to, with certain lineups, in these dead ball situations, pick up in full court and work on their full court pressure.
And they forced a turnover here in the backcourt. Smith has it poked away from behind. She touched it last. It'll go back to Houston Christian. This is a point of the game, obviously, where they're not pressing because of need necessarily at this point. Clearly something they're trying to work on.
No, absolutely, and it's something that you need to work on so that you can go to maybe surprise Big 12 teams for 2 or 3 possessions, or you're down 6 with a minute 15 left and you're trying to create extra possessions.
Full timeout on the floor here, so it'll be a moment before we get back to action with the Cowgirls up 40. And here's what they have coming up. Alabama State in just a couple of days. It's finals week next week, so there's a 10-day break in there before they welcome McNeese. And then, dang, Iowa State comes in to start conference play just before Christmas. That Big 12 season is just about here.
Well, there's a buildup, right? I mean, you have November, and typically play a lot of home games if you're a power conference school. And then you have your holiday tournament, which Oklahoma State just returned from last weekend. And I don't want to call them tune-ups, but you're playing teams that are getting paid to come to your building, in Alabama State and McNeese, and then the real deal. Iowa State, Bill Findley's team, they've had a couple of tough losses, but they're a top 10, 15 team this year. Baylor, always always difficult in Waco, Kansas here. So it begins, and there's no shutting that off. So, I can't believe that it's already here, but it's right around the corner, Big 12 play.
Coach J.C. Hoyt due to have a baby between now and then as well. So there's going to be a whole lot that looks a little bit different when we get to the Big 12 opener in Iowa State coming to Stillwater.
That is awesome. So happy for she and her husband, Daniel.
Houston Christian able to break the pressure this time. But the Cowgirls fall back into the half-court defense.
Yeah, for the most part, they've done a nice job once they got out of that, or getting out of that initial trap by Oklahoma State.
And what's the key to that? Because you don't always end up in the spot of the floor that you think you're going to once the trap is broken. Yeah, that'll work. 30-second shot clock violation turns the ball back over to Oklahoma State.
Well, and your press breaker, number one, you have to catch the ball up the floor as far away from the baseline as you can, because you know the trap is coming. Number one, it gets it further up the floor. Number two, it lengthens the distance of the trap coming. And then once you get out of the trap, if you get out of it with strength, math tells you you're going to have numbers.
See, slipped the screen, missed the shot, but an offensive rebound. Langerman to Jones. Spinning, missing from short distance, but got another offensive board. That gives Oklahoma State an 8-7 advantage on the offensive glass. About 2 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock here as we close to the end of the third quarter. Three-pointer from Annegret Assi.
Just doesn't need much space at all. Right there, McGuire slow to get to Assi, who has bounced back from a tough weekend shooting the basketball. There she is right here. Watch Assi, great.
Rebounded all three of those teams. The Cowgirls, though, doing the job on the glass tonight, so they're up big.
Yeah, and HCU, and we've talked about it, defensively, they've been pretty good all year. Now, TCU, who's ranked 9th in the country, by the way, scored 78 points on them in their opener. But Tech, they're 9-1. And they have shown well through Houston Christian. And Oklahoma State, I think, was definitely prepared, respected HCU coming in tonight, and I think that was evident by their great start. We talked so much about this 15-0. You obviously have the 4 threes from Hurd, but defensively they were very good out the get-go as well.
Hurd's first three-point attempt since that first quarter, and she knocks it down. Our wonderful statistician had handed me the note. She had not attempted a three since starting that 4 for 4, and gets an open look there and buries it. 5 for 5.
I'm glad the statistician is awake over there.
45 seconds into the fourth quarter, the Cowgirls up big. They have gained an advantage of some sort in every run of play so far in this game. So while it hasn't been as crisp, they're yet to drop points between breaks at any point. Hurd rips down the rebound this time. Looking ahead. Behind the screen, thought about it. Magassa got to the rim that time but couldn't finish. Now a wrestling match for the ball. Jump ball will give it back to Oklahoma State as we take a look back at the Hurd 3.
On cue, we talked about Hurd's 4 threes, and there's Smith again. A good piece for Oklahoma State. She and Wooten and most of the other Oklahoma State players, for that matter, play off 2 feet. And when you play off 2 feet, it gives you more options. There's playing off 2 feet right there. It's a little mid-range.
And you would think that would, it's easier said than done is what I'm trying to say. Like, you'd think that would be obvious, but there's a lot of players that get in there and rise up or play off of 1 foot, and it just makes it much more harder fundamentally.
Well, there's a time for it, and when you need to do it, that's predetermined by what the defense is giving you. But so many players get too deep, they leave their feet with nowhere to go. And you're typically a better passer when you have the balance. You're playing off those 2 feet. They used to call it a jump stop, but that doesn't sound very cool. So then they started calling it play off 2 feet.
Out of bounds off of Houston Christian. So it'll stay with Oklahoma State. And we talked earlier about Jaden Wooten. She's shown that ability as well, despite being a young player, just a true freshman. But Coach Hoyt actually wanting her to look to score more when she's on the floor. The three-pointer is off the mark. Tinnen Magassa with the putback on the follow-away there.
Yeah, you like that because she gets the points in the offensive rebound, but you really like it because she left her area to run down that rebound. And then typically when you see Magassa on the boards, she goes and gets it with both hands.
And there's a turnover from McGuire. We talked earlier about how well she had actually protected the ball today. She averages about 7 a game. She's that's just her second turnover at the contest.
Yeah, definitely a positive. And even with Oklahoma State being up 48 points, there's lots of things that HCU will be able to take that's positive. Again, the most important thing for them is conference play.
Dump off to Hurd for the bucket.
I like that right there. Staley Hurd initiating the offense some. It's the second time in recent possessions we've seen them play from the top to Magassa with Hurd cutting. And even if Hurd doesn't get the ball at him, she's going to drag the defense with her, isolating Magassa inside one-on-one.
Three-pointer off the mark, picked up by Hurd yet again. Hurd now with 21 and 6 in the contest. Quick pass out for Magassa. Three-pointer off the mark. Tinnen gets the rebound, though, and bounces it out to Asi. Hurd with the step back this time. She's 6 for 6. Well, we had three-point records in terms of numbers in that last contest at home for Oklahoma State. Magassa gets the block, and then it's out of bounds. It'll stay with Houston Christian. But we might have to look at highest shooting percentage in a game over a certain amount of attempts, because 6 for 6, pretty darn good.
That's a little step back right there. I mean, she has been terrific, obviously, from long range all night. She shot 36% as a freshman a year ago, which is very respectable. Only was 6 of 19 coming in to tonight on this season. Now she's 12 of 25. That's a pretty good number right there at 48%.
If you're a mathematician, that means she has made as many threes today as she had in the previous 8 games of the season. Gray on the drive. Wooten the extra pass. Hurd the follow away from the baseline, pulls it up.
So what you love about Staley Hurd is she can have nights where she scores 5 points and played really good. She just plays. She plays all phases of the game, offensively and defensively. But Oklahoma State, when she is a threat, and I think when she and Asi are a consistent threat, I think that just elevates them. You go back to the Richmond game, and I said it earlier, those two had 9 points combined. They're not going to be good people with both of those young ladies not being productive offensively.
Heward got up underneath the basket, but draws the foul.
Number 1, Tiffany Tullis, her 4th. Number 10, Field, to the line.
Watch this, Adam. We talked about the 6 for 6 from 3-point range. She gets run off the line right there. The rotation comes over from HCU with solid defense, but just the pull-up. I mean, the pull-up off the left foot. I mean, that is an excellent, excellent athlete that just has some serious natural instincts as a basketball player.
Heward hits the free throw. Hurd is also tied for the best shooting percentage in a single game by an Oklahoma State Cowgirl from beyond the arc. The minimum is 6 attempts. It would appear Leslie Day is the only other player to make all 6 of those attempts. That was back in February of 1992 against Missouri.
Little money. I know Leslie Day.
Bridging eras of Cowgirl basketball here.
Oh, I just dated myself, didn't I?
So the next one is Jennifer Dow with minimum of 7 attempts. She went 6 for 7. So Hurd has a chance at Cowgirl history if she can make her next one. No one has ever made 7 of 7 in a game for Oklahoma State from deep. And that is the under 5 media timeout. The Cowgirls up by 57, due in large part to Staley Hurd.
He's developed, taught well by her father, Tony Hurd, mother Lila, who are both greats at the University of Tulsa. And I did notice that Tony's sitting there enjoying the game while his wife is having to work and take all the pictures with the camera. But here she goes again right there. I mean, I'm telling you. And
that is a new record, 7 for 7. No Cowgirl has ever done that. The question is, will she go for 8 for 8 at some point in the contest? By the way, she had the rebound on that last play as well. She now has her 3rd double-double of the season. And if she came in looking to build off of her all-freshman campaign in the conference a year ago, she's certainly doing that. There's another block out of bounds over the baseline. But it's her 2nd block. She's got 3 steals as well. She has done everything on the floor this evening.
Well, we've talked about her a lot, and rightly so. A two-way player. I mean, at some point, I mean, you got to get out there and defend. Extend on her. They're right there. Athleticism on the block.
And the Cowgirls force another shot clock violation. That's a couple of times here in the second half that Houston Christian is not kept an eye on the clock.
So if you didn't know Staley Hurd and you looked at box scores this year, and you might think, well, she's kind of all over the board. She's inconsistent, but that's not true. I mean, somebody averages 8 rebounds a game, can score. Sometimes she gets 4 or 5 assists. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 steals, guarding multiple positions.
Would that be summed up as nice save back in by Langerman, out of bounds, last touch by Oklahoma State? Would that be summed up as letting the game come to her or taking what the defense gives her?
Mm-hmm. Well, she grew up in a basketball home. Darlene Caleb, she played for at Sapulpa, one of the best, I mean, coaches really in girls basketball in the history of the state of Oklahoma. So she knows how to play, and then she's got all that ability, and then she's coachable.
And we talked about this during the break a moment ago. She just looks constantly under control, whether it's on the drive and the pull-up or walking into a 3. It seems like she's never out of step. Langerman and Heward kind of got together there. Heward can't finish, but the putback, no on that either. And a foul on the rebound. We'll give it back to Houston Christian. We've seen Jones come in and get a couple of those offensive rebounds today, but she hasn't finished very well, just 1 for 5 from the field. If she can find a way to start converting some of those, Brendan, she can be a real weapon in that part of the game.
Well, she's been a really good piece. I mean, she was pretty efficient in Daytona. She was 6 of 7 from the floor in those 2 games. Shooting 61% from the floor on the year.
Up and under move there. Holly able to finish all 7 of her points in the second half.
Yeah, those are tough to guard when you can change pivot feet like that. It's tough.
Wooten, the freshman, with it for Oklahoma State. Another freshman, Anais Rodriguez, in the game as well. Heward kicks. That was dribbled off the foot of the defender and out of bounds. 8 to shoot for the Cowgirls as Evans and Butler will both check in.
Yeah, a couple of freshmen in there. Kennedy Evans, Anais Rodriguez. Actually 2 players with a lot of promise. But with the depth of this ball club, there's not a lot of opportunities to get them in. But they're talented and power conference players. So it's good that Coach Hoyt's able to get them some floor time right here.
Depth that Coach Hoyt is happy to have after last season and having to fight through the injuries that they had. It gives them a year to get those players in the system as well and get some things moving. Houston Christian, meanwhile, as you look at what they have coming up, just a couple of games left before they get into conference play as well. Both teams going to be doing that sooner rather than later, but it's back for a bunch of home games. Their next 4 all at home. We mentioned earlier this is their first game leaving the state of Texas this year, so they've gotten to play close to Houston quite a bit. Three seconds to shoot. Langerman ends up open, can't finish. Anais Rodriguez fighting for the rebound. It's poked away, but it'll stay with Oklahoma State. Another offensive rebound for the Cowgirls. This is 9 games in, 7-1 coming in, so this is 9 games in. What have you seen so far from this Oklahoma State team, Brittany?
Well, you just mentioned it, Adam. I mean, really good depth. They can go 10 deep with experience, and then you throw in Wooten, the freshman, at the point guard position. I think they're better defensively, probably the best defensive team that Oklahoma State has had under J.C. Hoyt. Not elite, but more than solid, and they can continue to improve there. Obviously, they did a better job in the portal. These girls really connect. They did an amazing job recruiting this time around. But I think they've got to continue to get better defensively. Wooten's got to continue to improve like she is, because I think she gives them a true point guard. And then rebounding, which has been good tonight. I think that is huge for Oklahoma State. That has to improve. We'll see how, as they get in a Big 12 play, you know, if they can compete with some of the bigger, more physical teams on that end. Because not only you have to get rebounded to get stops, but Oklahoma State needs it, because what are they best in? They're best in offensive transition.
Yep.
Getting shots in transition, and if they don't get anything, they're great at flattening out the defense and immediately flowing into the half-court offense. So to me, continued improvement defensively, and then much better board play. That has to happen.
And those are things that this squad has been actively working on. When we've talked to Coach Hoyt before the games, those have all been areas of emphasis for her as they approach Big 12 conference play at Iowa State. Certainly not starting with an easy one with the Cyclones coming in. That's back-to-back threes for Houston Christian as we get inside the final minute here in Gallagher-Iba.
Well, one positive, more than one positive, but in playing Richmond, Daytona Beach, Adam, is there's some similarities between Richmond and Iowa State. Now, Iowa State, overall, a better ball club. Richmond is very good, as we've well documented, but a lot of length, a lot of shooting, some post play, with Crooks obviously inside. So when they get to December 21st, they're going to be able to draw from their game Saturday against Richmond to some of these players that have not, which is most of the team, has not played Iowa State before.
Kennedy Evans, one of those players. She has just scored her first and second collegiate points. A freshman out of Little Elm, Texas, on the scoreboard for the first time in her Cowgirl career. For Houston Christian, they've shown some things in this second half. They were picked 12th in the Southland, but they've got a chance to make a little bit of noise, it seems like.
No, definitely more confident the second half. You knew they were going to continue to play hard, but better purpose.
That is a turnover. It's turnover number 18, so those numbers have ballooned a little bit here in the second half, but Huskies protected the ball much better in the first half. That's clearly going to be a key for them as they get into league play. 10 seconds to go. Cowgirl fans starting to get to their feet here in Gallagher-Iba Arena as Oklahoma State remains undefeated at home, now 7-0 in the friendly confines this season, and 8-1 on the season overall. Houston Christian